Give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. And here's the best part. You still own your home. Take control of your retirement today.
Call 800-935-5199 to get your free DVD. Plus, get a free magnifier with LED light when you call now.
When the GIs came home after World War II, 6% of the adults in this country were college graduates. The GI Bill pushed that up to 20. The GI Bill put my father through college. He then was able to earn a living to put his 5 kids through college. It's the most successful educational program that we've ever had in this country, and the critics called it welfare.
Welcome back to MSNBC's continuing coverage of the Iowa caucuses. Let's check back in now with Chris Matthews, who's in Des Moines. Chris?
Joining me right now, as you said, Rachel, we've got Michael Steele, the former chair of the Republican National Committee, and Eugene Robinson, the great columnist of the Washington Post. Gentlemen, I want to ask you a tough question. What's the most consequential result tonight in terms of who wins?
Oh, in terms of who comes out of this thing on top tonight, if it's Mitt Romney, it's a, sort of affirmation that everything up to now really didn't matter. That at the end of the day, he got the number he needed to go forward to New Hampshire and beyond and take the nomination. If a Santorum wins, for example, it's a big deal. It's the base sending a message to Romney that you're 25%. You're going to need more if you want that nomination. And right now, our love is with someone like Santorum.
If Romney wins, the establishment candidate moves ahead, New Hampshire wins again, and perhaps wins the nomination. If the challenge comes from Santorum effectively tonight, or from Santorum,
it's the base
it means something that in other words, we don't like the way this is going. The way this is going. Gene.
And I agree with Michael, but if Santorum, for example, were to win big, what that would do is slow this whole thing down. And then you'd no longer be able to assume that Romney just walks, cakewalks to the nomination, because it would provide an opening for, if not Santorum, maybe Newt to come back. It provides maybe Perry, the perpetual candidate of next month, comes back.
So there's different results. If it's Mitt Romney, it means Mitt Romney's on the way to winning it. If Santorum wins, it means Mitt Romney's not on the way to winning it, but we don't know who is.
True, and I would even not necessarily on the way to win it.
I would even say the number, the gap between the number 1 and the number 2 matters.
Exactly.
If there's a 5, 7, 8 point gap, that's a comfortable win.
What I love about tonight is whoever wins, wins. There's not going to be any of this spread stuff. Well, he didn't beat the spread, or she didn't beat the spread. Let me ask you this. Everybody thinks the top 3 are going to get about 25% tonight.
Right.
Romney gets about 25, Santorum gets about 25, and maybe Ron Paul gets a little less than that. Where's the other 25 going tonight? That's my big, Gene, you're the pundit here. Where's that 25 go? We've been wondering where it's a phantom 25%.
Half of it's going to go to Perry.
Yeah.
Half of it's going to go to Perry.
And the rest is 12. He'll get 12.
He'll get 12, maybe 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the rest goes to Bachman and others.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
What would be a big win tonight? Somebody said to be a big winner tonight. I want to know what the number looks like.
The number
Can
looks
anybody
like
get 30 tonight?
Plus 30.
Somebody get more than 30.
If you get 30, that's a huge win, particularly given how the numbers have played here in Iowa up to now.
Do you believe there's 41% undecided? We had a congressman sitting in that seat, Michael,
a few
minutes ago, who says he does. I think some of this is BS. He says he doesn't know how he's going to vote. Give me a break.
He knows how he's going to vote. He just doesn't want to say.
Well, why is 41% undecided?
Because there is that same problem that Romney's had from the day he announced, is that the base is not gravitated towards him.
Is he the dog food the dog won't eat?
That's one way to put it. That's one way to put it.
He's eat your peas and your bran. That's Mitt Romney.
Is that bad?
Well,
okay. So we're getting down to
the lack of love.
So just to sum this up, we only have a minute. The candidate who wins tonight gets a clear win. Nobody has to beat a spread. You win, you win.
You win,
right?
you win.
Right.
You win, you win. You get the headline. Do you still get the covers of the weekly magazines?
Oh,
you still get Newsweek and Time and all that stuff?
Yeah, but again, that's going to depend on who's the closest to you. And if that's a small gap, then you're going to be sharing that headline. You see what I'm saying?
Sharing the headline.
In other words, if there's a 1 or 2% gap
I
between
hope the editors of Time and Newsweek are watching. You got to pick the winner. Anyway, well, we're right back to Rachel. Take it away, Rachel.
Thanks, Chris. All right, still ahead. Much more from Ed Schultz, Steve Schmidt, Lawrence O'Donnell, and Reverend Al Sharpton here with me in New York. And we will be talking with one of Mitt Romney's senior advisors, Ben Ginsberg. You are watching MSNBC's coverage of the Iowa caucuses.
What's better than Empire's professional next-day installation? Getting it for free during our installation sale. Give your home a fresh new look with beautiful new carpet today. and get Empire's professional installation absolutely free. Shop at home for the latest styles, trusted brand names. Pay no interest for a year and have it all installed for free. Call today. Our installation sale won't last long.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today.
My boyfriend and I were going on vacation, so I used my city thank you card to pick up some accessories. A new belt, some nylons, and what girl wouldn't need new shoes? We talked about getting a diamond, but with all the thank you points I've been earning, somebody left the gate on. I flew us to the rock I really had in mind.
The City Thank You Card. Earn points you can use for travel on any airline with no blackout dates.
So, this is delicious.
Okay.
Is this where we're at now? Just eat whatever tastes good? Like these sweet honey clusters?
Actually, there's a half a day's worth of fiber in every.
Why stop at cereal? Bring on the pork chops and the hot fudge. Fantastic.
Are you done, sweetie?
Yeah.
Fiber beyond recognition. Fiber One.
Hey, I love your cereal there. It's got that sweet honey taste, but no way it's 80 calories, right? No way.
Lady, I just drive the truck.
Right? There's no way, right?
Have a nice day.
80 delicious calories. Fiber One.
This is an RC robotic claw.
A high school science teacher made me what I am today.
Our science teacher helped us build it.
Now I'm a geologist at Chevron, and I get to help science teachers.
It has 4 servo motors and a wireless microcontroller.
Over the last 3 years, we've put nearly $100 million into American education. That's thousands of kids learning to love science.
Isn't that cool?
That's pretty cool.
Capri Sun has 25% less sugar than leading regular juice drinks, because less sugar is a better way to fly. Just not literally. Capri Sun, respect what's in the pouch.
Raw nose can feel really sore, and common tissue can make it burn even more. Puffs Plus lotion is more soothing than common tissue, and it delivers our most soothing lotion for every nose issue.
Because I was in good physical condition, I couldn't conceive this as a heart attack. But when they finished the procedure, the doctor leaned over and said to me, "You just beat the Widowmaker." I was put on an aspirin, and it's part of my regimen now.
Aspirin is not appropriate for everyone, so be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
Go see your doctor now. You can change your future by making sure you do all the right things to take care of your heart.
Learn more about protecting your heart at IamProHeart.com.
We're back here on this Iowa caucus night with our panel. Steve Schmidt, a senior strategist to the 2008 John McCain campaign, is now an MSNBC political analyst. Also Ed Schultz, the host of The Ed Show. Lawrence O'Donnell, host of The Last Word. And the Reverend Al Sharpton, a former presidential candidate himself and the host of Politics Nation. Also, Chris Matthews is with us from Des Moines, Iowa tonight. You guys, I feel like there's a lot, most of the discussion has been about who has the most to gain tonight. Particularly the common wisdom, I think the idea is that if Romney can win or do very, very well in Iowa, that will make him an even more formidable frontrunner. But I've been looking more at the downside. I feel like the only candidates who have no risk tonight, who have nothing, there's nothing could happen tonight that could hurt them, are John Huntsman, because he didn't campaign at all in Iowa. So if he gets 1%, wow, it's a windfall for John Huntsman. He got 1%. Or Ron Paul, because even if Ron Paul does not place in the top 3, which he has, everybody's saying that he has the chance to do tonight, Ron Paul has the wherewithal and the sort of campaign mindset to keep chugging. He won precisely 0 states in 2008. He did not drop out until June. Mitt Romney was out in February. Mike Huckabee was out in March. Ron Paul was still chugging away in June, and I think he still has that mindset. So I don't think either of those guys can be hurt tonight. But everybody else does sort of really face some risk tonight, don't they?
Well, I think the biggest risk tonight is probably Mitt Romney. I mean, he's
got the biggest downside, you think?
He has spent the most money going after Newt Gingrich. He is the biggest name in the field. He has done a pretty good job the last couple of weeks in Iowa. But if he doesn't finish, first or second, I think the social conservatives are going to smell some blood, and they're going to say, hey, wait a minute. I really believe that Iowa is so different it really is a crapshoot all the way down to the end. Even the governor of Iowa said that, Branstad. I mean, it's a tough one to call. If you're polling in high double digits, and if you're good on the ground, and you've got a bunch of undecideds going into that room tonight, you have just as good a chance as anybody else to win. I don't think that Mitt Romney has done anything over the last 4 years to turn the key for more votes in Iowa. Right. I mean, those social conservatives that went with Huckabee, they're still there. The pie is divided a little bit different, but the surging guy's been Santorum. So I think really the guy I think that could lose a lot tonight as far as confidence is concerned is Mitt Romney.
I think the question, though, is that if they do smell that blood in the water, does that make them coalesce around anybody else? Because I think they've sensed Mitt Romney's weakness from the very beginning, but that hasn't made them coalesce around anybody else who could topple him.
Yeah, but I think that Ed is right. Romney has the most at risk, but you've got to look at, again, turnout. Because suppose Romney brings out the voters he brought last time, but the other side does not bring out, then he doesn't need to go from 30 to 40% because the 30% he had becomes 40%. I'm looking at the fact there's not a lot of excitement on the ground. And that's what gives a Ron Paul the edge, because he may be able to bring his people out. And I think that is going to be the story when this is over. You've got more people going to the Sugar Bowl than will vote for one of these guys tonight. But they will be the face of this party. The other thing I thought that was interesting, Rachel, maybe Chris could tell us, is I didn't see when Ron was showing us the setup where the voter ID booth was. I mean, these guys believe in voter ID. You mean they're just going to let people walk in without state ID and caucus tonight? This is amazing.
Well, they have changed that a little bit, have they not?
Well, you got to show voter. You got to show an ID in order to register to vote in Iowa tonight. But you don't have to show photo ID in order to vote tonight if you are already a registered voter. Even though Iowa Republicans in the legislature tried to make that the rule.
It's clearly a double standard of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But what is a good turnout? I mean, 120,
120 was in 2008.
Yeah.
That was a record, right? Wasn't that the highest it had ever been at that point?
So suppose if they do 110 tonight, what does that say?
That would be a huge number, I think. I think that would be a
huge number. But if Romney can bring back his same numbers with 110,000 people voting, he got 30,000 out of 110 is different than 30,000 out of 120.
I think if 10 people showed up and Mitt Romney still couldn't get over 2.5 of them, why can't he improve his 25%? Over 4 years of campaigning. He spent $10 million.
It's how they're going to spend it, and it's the $9 million Newt's going to put on them between now New Hampshire and South Carolina. This is going to be a
Look, I think there's nothing but blue skies out of tonight for Governor Romney, provided he finishes in the top 3. His most dangerous opponent that emerged during this year of asininity, as Lawrence pointed out, was Speaker Gingrich. And Speaker Gingrich has been hobbled by the process in Iowa. So the strongest competitor, the most dangerous opponent that Governor Romney had to face during the entirety of this year is going to come out tonight very weak. And I would say this about Governor Huntsman. His calculus was that what happens in Iowa doesn't affect what happens in New Hampshire. That he could campaign in New Hampshire pretending Iowa didn't matter. What will be interesting to see if, in fact, Senator Santorum has a good night tonight, as the poll suggests. Does he skyrocket past Governor Huntsman in New Hampshire as the Romney alternative? And that will be one of the interesting things to see. I think it's tough when politicians enter this process and decide to start playing in the third inning. And we'll see what Governor Huntsman's strategy yields on.
I will say though, I think that while Newt Gingrich has been a formidable candidate, formidable opponent for Mitt Romney, I think the John Huntsman ads against Mitt Romney, maybe nobody's seen them, but substantively they are the most devastating anti-Romney ads I've ever seen. And so I don't know if anybody's ever going to pay attention to John Huntsman. Maybe starting in the second inning in New Hampshire is going to be too late for him. But I think that I think when he trains his sights on Mitt Romney, his whole life has been about running against Mitt Romney, and you can see it in the sharpness of those ads.
No question.
Yeah, Chris, you've been in Iowa, doing your show from there and taking the temperature there. When you look at the ads out there, obviously you're sort of horrified by the negativity to them. But is anybody doing them better than anybody else?
No, the ads by the Romney folks, the front group basically for him, are basically doing the job of destroying Newt Gingrich. What I think is fascinating, it comes out of what Ed said and what Steve said. What happens if the whole result of the next several events here, the caucuses tonight and in New Hampshire and then down to South Carolina and on through Florida, is that Romney never really gets beyond about 25%. The people basically say they don't like him. but he beats his main opponent, which is Newt Gingrich. In other words, there's no one else around that's a real alternative who could win and beat him, and yet he's unpopular.